Oak Health, the lifestyle program here. My name is Mona Cabrera, and I'm the registered dietitian. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to give you a few minutes to pop on here. If you're new to our channel, just hit the subscription button below and you'll get some notifications on when we're coming on live. We have classes here most days of the week, whether it's a nutrition topic, a cooking demonstration on Wednesday afternoons, or an exercise class. So you're not going to want to miss those. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comment box and I will check for those because I have my phone here and I can check. And we are live, so good. Thanks for joining again. Today's topic is vegan cooking and baking swaps. So you don't have to be a vegan or a vegetarian to do these swap outs, but if you're trying to veganize a recipe or just reduce your eggs and cheese in your diet, you might want to think first before you go and grab the faux meat or the faux cheese on the market. You'll see a lot of those out there. And the reason why I say that is because they're highly processed. And if you're trying to work on your health, you can make simple substitutions for common non-vegan ingredients. So for eggs, butter, milk, meats, cheeses, buttermilk, gelatin, ice cream, sauces, condiments. So we'll talk about a few of these today. So the big one is eggs. So let's talk about egg substitutions. Eggs, for instance, in baking are used as a binder. So there's a lot of substitutions, and you probably have some of these things in your house already. So one egg, you could use 1/4 cup of unsweetened applesauce or 1/4 cup of mashed banana. You can also use sweet potato. There was another one, it'll come to my mind, and pumpkin. So those 1/4 cup will equal to 1 egg. You can also use a 1 tablespoon of chia seeds mixed with 3 tablespoons of water, and that you just whisk up and let it sit for 10 minutes and it'll gel up. So you can use that for an egg. You can also use 1/4 cup of flaxseed, ground flaxseed with 3 tablespoons of water. Whisk that up, and that just needs to sit for 5 minutes. And so both of those seeds will substitute for 1 egg. Very popular substitution is tofu. 1/4 cup whisked up until smooth silken tofu will equal 1 egg for substitution. So, and there's one last one, akafaba. Akafaba you might not have heard of, but it is the water when you soak beans, that's referred to akafaba. Even if you take the water from, let's say, a can of chickpeas, that water you can also use. And then you would just whisk that up, 3 tablespoons of that for 1 substitution of egg. So there's a lot of substitution for eggs, as you can see, that you can use. And like if you wanted to even do like an egg scramble for breakfast, you're looking for a high protein breakfast, your tofu, soft tofu scrambled up in a pan, comes out like scrambled eggs. Throw in your vegetables and you have a high protein, very delicious recipe there. So very delicious breakfast. Because I know a lot of people are always looking for a high protein breakfast that's not eggs, and you can definitely use your soft tofu to scramble that up. Let's talk about vegan butter substitutes. So on the shelf you may see the butter substitutes, but these are made from vegetable oils, and those are not so great for us despite what you hear, popular misconceptions. So if you're looking for a vegan butter spread, let's say for toast or rolls, you can use a fruit compost. I made a couple weeks ago now a chia seed jam, so you could use that. Very easy recipe. You can use smashed avocado on your toast. You can use any nut butter or seed butter. You can use a bean spread, so let's say hummus, and that's very filling on your toast. So those are some substitutions for if you're putting butter on your bread or roll. Let's talk next about some sauces. Let's say there's a buttery sauce, and there's a few tricks that you can use instead of using butter. So when you boil your pasta, it's done quite frequently in Italy. The water that the pasta was cooking in can be saved and used, and so when you strain off your pasta or your grains or your beans or vegetables, use that liquid to add back into your cooking, and it gives more of a buttery feel. You can also, when you're cooking in a skillet or a pan, you can deglaze that pan with a little bit of water, and you can get a sauce from that. And if you want to thicken your sauce, all you have to do is use a tablespoon of cornstarch. And to thicken it using cornstarch, you want to take 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 1 tablespoon of cold water. First, mix those together, and then you would add it into your sauce that you had in your pan, and that would thicken your sauce up. A lot of people do this when they do like a stir fry, and let's say they're using coconut aminos. It's not that thick, but they want to thicken it up, and you would use like a cornstarch. So you can do that. Let's see. So the next topic is milk. So there are so many plant-based milks in the grocery store, right? They take up a whole row. So more and more different companies are coming out with the milks. And so if you want to take out your dairy milk and put a plant-based milk and use it in your cooking and baking, look for one that is unsweetened, because a lot of them have added sugars in them. So you want to definitely read your label where it says added sugars, or read the ingredient list. You want to buy unsweetened. Almond milk is very versatile, light flavor, no flavor really. So you can use this a lot in cooking and baking. And so is soy milk, very versatile, and it's very similar to cow's milk in the sense that it's very high in protein. So soy milk will give you some protein if you're using that, and just buy an unsweetened. So there's vanilla, there's some vanilla with sugar added, and then you'll see some unsweetened options. So you definitely want to look out for those. There's cashew milk, macadamia milk, hazelnut milk. These plant-based milks have a little bit more fat, so you could use those for more of creaminess in baking, or to help make a sauce thick. Hazelnut has a little bit more flavor, so just have to be careful with which ones you choose. Let me see if there's any questions. No questions yet. Okay. Okay, so let's see. So those are the milks. So you can definitely swap out milk when you're baking or you're cooking to have a plant-based milk. So taking out that dairy if you are trying to take out dairy. Let's talk about vegan meat substitutions. So first of all, tofu has been used thousands of years in Asia, and it is creamy. It takes on different flavors and textures just depending on what you're cooking. So tofu is an excellent source of meat, of a protein source that you can use. I already talked about the scrambled tofu for a scrambled egg, but you can also use tofu, let's say, cutting up in chunks and use it in a stir fry. You can do that. Some people will roast it until it's crispy on the outside and it's firm. Some people will use the air fryer. So there's different ways, and that comes out really crunchy on the outside and firm. And the tofu takes the flavor of whatever you're cooking with or marinating it in. So that's a great substitution. It's a very cheap protein source, and just look out for the non-GMO options on the shelf. Just want to make sure this is working. You guys hear me? Just want to make sure this, sometimes I'm not heard, so I just want to make sure. So the other plant-based alternatives, there's so many options for that meaty satisfaction. So if you are trying to pull out some meat, you can use lentils. That's a big substitution for meat. So lentils in your dishes. For chicken, if you want to pull out some chicken, you can use chickpeas instead. And you can look for your canned, organic cans. You don't have to cook them from scratch. Just keep it really easy. Keep those canned goods in your pantry. For taco night, lentils are used. Tofu, use your taco seasoning. So there's a lot of different options, and adding sweet potatoes in the tacos to give it more of some more meaty texture in there. So tofu, sweet potatoes, lentils, those are all great options for tacos, for Taco Tuesday, and that's today, right? Let's see, tempeh is another plant-based. It is more of a fermented soybeans, and it's just like tofu. It takes the flavor of whatever you're cooking with, so you can definitely use that, and it has a hearty, chewy texture. So those are a few options. One last thing about the tofu. The soft tofu is an excellent choice when you want to add some protein into like a morning protein smoothie, and you're throwing in vegetables and some fruit, chia seeds, and then you need your protein source. You can throw in soft tofu to get some protein in this shake. You don't have to use a protein powder or anything like that. You can use tofu. It's great. It just blends up really creamy. Okay, so cheese substitutes. We want that cheesy taste, but if you're trying to pull out dairy, what are your options, right? There's a lot of the faux cheeses out there as well. They are highly processed, but there's a lot of recipes where you can make your own cheese sauces, for instance, and it uses nutritional yeast. A lot of cashews are used, and vegetables and tahini, and this is just mixed up, and it creates a delicious cheesy sauce. And if you needed a recipe, there's so many out there. You could just Google, what would it be under? It is a vegan cheese sauce, basically, is the recipe. So they're using cashews and nutritional yeast. You can also use nutritional yeast as a sprinkle like Parmesan cheese on pastas, on any dish, vegetables, for example, on popcorn for that savory flavor and cheesy flavor. You can use nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is in every grocery store. You can use it also, nutritional yeast is used in a lot of sauces and a lot of dressings for that cheesy flavor. So there's a lot of recipes that you can use, again, cashews and nutritional yeast to create that cheesiness, that cheesy. Even mac and cheese is made with nutritional yeast, a little plant-based milk, and cashews, and it's delicious. So if you haven't tried that, and you're looking to swap out that cheesy cheesy sauce, you can do this vegan nutritional yeast sauce. It's great. Okay, so the last one is ice cream. It's almost summer, just right around the corner. It's going to be June, and we tend to eat more ice cream, I think, in the summer when it's super hot. And so if you're trying to pull out some dairy and pulling out some more processed foods, ice cream is a great way to use your frozen fruits to create an ice cream. So ice cream is basically just frozen bananas blended in your blender with a little bit of plant-based milk. So you could use even coconut milk for that coconut tropical flavor, or whatever plant-based milk you like. Soy milk would give you a little bit more protein, and just blend that up, and it creates a soft yogurt ice cream mixture. There's so many different flavors using bananas, like a strawberry chocolate, for instance. You would use frozen strawberries, frozen bananas, and a few dark chocolate, pieces, chunks. Or you can use cacao powder and just blend that up in your blender, and you'll create this little nice cream. So it's your substitution for ice cream. So you don't have to get rid of ice cream, just use your frozen fruit, and at the same time get vitamins and minerals and fiber, and it's still delicious without all the added dairy and preservatives and sugar. So that's nice cream. You can Google tons of recipes on there on the internet for nice cream, and it's just frozen fruit, a lot of variations to it depending on what flavor you wanted to create. So let's see, any questions? Oh, there is a question for butter in, what can we use for a good substitution for butter in baking cookies? So for baking cookies, you could use the vegan butters out there, and you could also use oils, so your olive oil, coconut oil for butter. You could use ghee, but if you're going, yeah, so those would be your options. I will do a little bit more research to see if there's any other options that I can't think of right now for you, and I will post it later in the comments for you, okay? Thanks for asking that question. That was a great question. For eggs and baking, though, I use all the time the chia seed mixed with water for the eggs, and lots of times banana and applesauce. So that was a great question. Thank you. Anything else? I don't see any other questions. I see several of you on here. Thanks for joining, taking the time out of your day. So there's a lot of ways to cook and bake when you're trying to veganize your recipes, or you're trying to reduce your eggs for some reason, or cheese or dairy. There's a lot of ways to do that. So hopefully some of these ideas helped you today. The aquafaba, if you heard me at the beginning, I was talking about the water from when you soak beans. That can probably be used for butter. You whip it up 3 tablespoons, and it whips up if you use your, like a blender, a cooking blender, a hand blender. It will froth up. It could be the water in a can of beans, the water that sits on the top. That's also used to thicken, so you could probably use that as butter. But I will do a little bit more research and answer your question. So that is just a little wrap up on vegan cooking and baking swaps. Hope you guys can use some of these in the kitchen, and super simple substitutions, and we usually have these foods in our pantry, and they are healthy options for you, especially if you're trying to work on your health goals here. So you're welcome. Thank you all for joining. Tomorrow I will be here, 2 o'clock again. It is a cooking demo, and it's going to be a simple dinner that you can put together really quick on those nights where we're just not prepared and all the meal prep food is gone. You can still cook up a simple, delicious, healthy dinner for you and your family. So I'll be doing that tomorrow. And that's about it for today. Thank you, and enjoy the sunshine today. It finally got sunny. We've had a lot of dark days this past few days, actually. So it's feeling good with the sunshine out there. So you guys all have a great afternoon, and thank you, and we'll see you next time.